Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Prayer to the Most High blesses this lesson this afternoon, gives word knowledge, understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand the events that are currently happening on the earth. So we may get a much better understanding of things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, I'm going in and some of these other books that we've read before, and just getting more understanding by the Most High, the power of the Most High, as to why many of these books have been hidden. The plan of this movie, the beginning, the middle, the end, has already been set, already been written, and we are now getting the information back and the understanding back. We have come pretty much almost to the end of the times of the Gentiles here on our lands. They've been really slick with how they have been hiding words and changing the meaning of words, give multiple understanding of words, different definitions, changing places, changing the origination of ideas, sciences, math, everything, giving credit to other nations, nationalities, making it seem as if every other nation has built absolutely everything, come up with every concept, but never giving credit to the ones that the Most High said he gave knowledge and understanding to Enoch and to his lineage. But they've taken it and given credit to absolutely everyone else. But that's okay, because the Most High said, we've now come to the climax. We're getting ready to get to the climax of the story. We're having the whole buildup of everything, and now we're quickly moving to the climax. And, we're going to get into prophecy that's being fulfilled today. See, this is why the churches are so quiet. This is why even people within our own community are so very quiet, because when you're only looking at the Bible, you can only get a certain understanding. If you're still talking about the lands over there in the so-called Middle East, see, they're going to have their play, they're going to have their time, but everything first begins here in the Americas. There's going to be events that are going to play out, and we're going to talk about that later on in another video, over there in Europe and Africa and the so-called Middle East and Asia. The three parts have their play and have their time also in these apocalyptic events. So they make it seem as if all apocalyptic events have to happen at the same time and it has to be a worldwide event. Most High is taking care of the Most High of his lands first. That's what it talks about in Joel 2. And then there's more to come after that. But what you're seeing playing out today is pretty much a little precursor to the bigger events that are to come. Now, this information, this gospel, if people say you're not teaching the gospel or whatever else, this gospel is good news. This good news is not only just for the Israelites that the Most High has opened their eyes and understanding to be able to see the truth. This good news is also for the Gentiles that the Most High has opened their eyes to see the truth as well. So I know that many Gentiles have been treated horribly as well. It's not about, hey, I had it worse than you, so therefore, I'm, better than you or more important to the Most High. The Most High has, many Gentiles that have also gone through many rough times. And the Most High is opening them up to the truth. So like I said, I'm never all about all these people, all that people get this, and all these people get this, because that's not my job description, nor am I privy to that type of information. So this good news of who the Most High is, who he's over and who he's calling. He's calling right now some Hebrews, Hebrew Israelites, some Hebrews as well, some of our cousins. He's calling, Gentiles as well. So if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, then this is the time to delve into this truth. I've been seeing a lot of comments from a lot of new people, and that's beautiful to see. People who have barely gotten exposed to this information and barely coming into the videos. It's a beautiful thing. Make sure you also go to bigjudah.com. There's a whole bunch of books and a lot of other resources, information there as well. So you guys can quickly, get on this journey and get down this road if the Most High is calling you. I'm here for the ones that the Most High is calling. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, yellow, green, brown, whoever the Most High is calling. That's what we're here for. We plant the seeds, and the Most High is the one that's watering. Most High uses us just to plant some seeds here and there, and the Most High waters if they're ready for this information. And I'm seeing a lot of people are getting ready for this information because their foundation is shook. Good times Jesus is not here. Sports is barely here as well. And even if you look at the sports, it's not the same. It just has a different feel. Everything has a different feel right now. Things are not the way they used to be. As much as the other nations are trying to get back to some sense of normalcy, that's never going to happen. But what we're going to get into right now is a book here. If you can still get a hold of these, this is two sets. The Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1. If you can get a hold of these, I would suggest you rush and get this stuff and read, because there's so much more information that's not in the Bible, not in the scriptures. So if you want to get deeper understanding, see, the things that are happening right now are in these books. And it makes so much sense as to why they've hidden these books, because they didn't want people to be able to, well, you can't put it together on your own. I don't put this information together on my own at all. The Most High guides me through the guidance of the Holy Spirit and the angels. They put this information together. So that says it's all praises to the Most High, because He's the one that's doing all of this. Now we're just going to read one small little paragraph, but look, it's like you're looking at the pages of the newspaper today, and you'll be able to see. Most people right now are running around with that glossy look in their eyes because they have no idea what's going on. Churches aren't teaching them. Most people on the internet are still talking about Republicans and Democrats, right and left. I said they're not getting it. None of that stuff matters. Who are you going to vote for? Going forward, we need to get a Democrat in office so that we can get things better. Things have never been better with either in office. The only person or only entity I'm worried about is what the Most High wants, because His will shall be done. A lament for Egypt in those days. Now, this Egypt right now is going to be over here for the most part. I mean, of course, there's a lot of other things going on in other parts of the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there's nothing going on and everything's hunky dory everywhere else. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying a lot of the stuff that's going on right now is going to pertain to the Americas, the Most High's chosen land, and His people that are here. It says, "Woe to you, O rulers of Egypt, in those days, because your day has passed." So destruction to the rulers of Egypt. In those days, okay, because your day has passed. This is a future prophecy. The end of the 400 to 500 years of our destruction. That's what this is referring to. Remember that $20 bill, flip it upside down, and you see the face with the mask on it. 2020, 400 years. 20 times 20, 400 years. This is the future prophecy. Now, this is when you see like Trump yesterday um, talking about how this plague has beset us. And it's a terrible plague. And as you can see, they haven't tried to do anything to stop it, because once their time is up, it's up. There's nothing they can do about it. They understand this because they knew what to hide. They know what to hide. The vast majority of the world, it went over their heads, the things he was saying. Someone else said, and I think in the interview he was talking about the land being an inheritance. I didn't watch the whole interview, so but even still, yes, their land. This land was their inheritance for a time. If that's what he said, then that is true. For 400 to 500 years, our lands were their inheritance for a time. But make sure you understand that it was only for a time. Now it says the violence being done to the poor will turn against you, and your children will be seized as plunder. See, the violence being done to the poor will turn against you. Now, see, that's why I'm saying it's against not only just the Israelites, but also the poor of the other nations, the poor of the Gentiles, the poor of the other Hebrews, and the poor of the Hebrew Israelites, the ones, right, our forefathers. Now, look at today. You have many people who lost jobs, you know, not because they wanted to quit, but because of the plague. This country, other countries, when the plague hit and then people couldn't work, started giving them like monthly allowances in order for them to be able to stay home and in order to deal with the plague. Not this country. They don't believe in that. Republicans are like, oh no, you guys are being too lazy. If we give you guys any money, you guys won't want to go out to work. It's an incentive for you guys not to go find a job, even though there's about 50 plus million people who are unemployed and only 8 million jobs. So there's no jobs. But they're still using the same talking points as if society is as it always has been. Society is running as usual, and that there's plenty of jobs and opportunities out here. So you see, this is the mental breakdown that you see with these people. They're not dealing with what's going on in reality right now. It's like a robot who doesn't have, can only think a certain way because of its programming. So they gave them $600 a week, and they were complaining about that for a certain amount of time. That's ran out now, going on a couple of weeks. You got almost 30 million people, or 29 million people, who are dependent upon those benefits and that money, who aren't getting it. So it's only a matter of time before civil unrest begins. They're far, the government is far away from coming up with any kind of a plan, any kind of a compromise. So therefore, the people suffer. The poor suffer, and they don't care. You got billions of dollars behind in rent that cannot be made up. So you got a bunch of people getting ready to get evicted and become homeless. But the top brass here of Egypt don't care. You got people who are going to food banks because they can't feed their families, feed themselves. But the Egyptian rulers don't care. So eventually, as this says right here, it says, the violence being done to the poor will turn against you. The shooting down of our people, the killing of our people, all those things are going to turn on the rulers of Egypt. So you got a culmination of what's been done to the Hebrew Israelites, the Most High chosen people, what's being done to the poor of the other nations as well, all culminating into a huge, outbreak of people being upset, protests. You thought probably there were protests before. Just wait for what's coming next. Now it says, and your children will be seized as plunder. See, these people, I've been seeing, someone sent me a video, one of the subscribers, and sent me a video, and it was a guy talking about Hebrew Israelites and raping and killing and whatever else, and how he was saying that that's not going to happen, and this and that. See, these guys have the Most High said double to everyone who's done all these things to us. What do you think he means when he says double? Everything that's happened to us is going to be double. Now, just because the vast majority of the world has not, been exposed to what has happened to us, you might want to check your history. You might want to check the things that the Most High allowed to be done to us. And if you allow that to be done to us, what makes you think that you're so special and the Most High won't do it to your kids? See, they have a mental block when that comes. That's why they have in the movies like Left Behind, all of the world's children being taken and they just vanish and go to heaven. Our kids have been going through destruction. Our women children, men, rape, rob, murder, everything. But the rest of the world seems to think that they get a pass. But in this book, it's telling you right here, and your children will be seized as plunder. So apparently, the Most High here believes that generational curses. See, many people here are like, well, I didn't do this and I didn't do that. I didn't have slaves. You have a society built on the backs of the Most High's chosen people. So even here, it tells you that the children will be seized as plunder. That your children didn't do anything, but the Most High is still going to make them pay for the sins of their fathers, just as He did with us. It says, in those days, the cities of Egypt will groan for the voice of the one who sells, and the one who buys will not be heard. Stores being closed, shut down, looted, destroyed, because that's all part of it. It's pretty much the destruction of society. That's what's on the horizon, and that's all part of the curses, and that's all part of the recompense that the Most High is going to bring. But you can see that when you talk about millions of people out of work, and millions of people who can't take care, of their daily needs. That means just the destruction of society, the collapse of society. And see, let's continue here. The markets of the cities of Egypt will become dusty. Those who are in Egypt will weep together. So those the people here are going to be weeping together. They're going to see, they're already getting a little taste of it. Already getting a little taste of the fact that the good old days, the happy days, just like the show, are done. And I said that's what's going on right now. They come into the realization that their days of fun and games and going on vacations and just their sports and all the parties on the weekends. I said they're done. All right. So again, those who are in Egypt will weep together. They will desire death, but death will flee and leave them. See, this is Revelation 9. Then up there you got Revelation 18. See, you get a much better understanding of what's going on here when you have these other books. So with just the Bible, you can read it and kind of come in. You can get some understanding, but the Bible's still constantly going to get you back over into Africa and it gets you back over into the Middle East thinking, because that's what they've given us. But these are the things that are going to be happening right here. And so for them, they say, "Oh, that's the land of Egypt." That's what I hear from Christians. Oh, let's talk about anytime you see Egypt, it's over there. It's the land in the so-called Middle East. No, this is what's happening right here. It says they will desire death, but death will flee and leave them. In those days they will run up to the rocks and leap off, saying, "Fall upon us," and they will not die. A double affliction will multiply upon the whole land. There it is again. The double affliction is going to multiply upon the whole land. That's talking about the lands right here. We went into Egypt. We went into slavery. We went into captivity in our own lands. So, like I said, the double affliction will multiply upon the whole land. The land is very important. There's going to be a double affliction here on this land, a double affliction for the ones who came here and raped, robbed, and murdered, and hid identities, and pillaged the land, and did the whole encomienda system on the people and forced them to work. The Most High never turned His eyes away. The angels have been here taking account the entire time. A double affliction on the land. So there you go back up there. It says, if you go back up here, then if it's a double affliction upon the land, then you go back up here. It says, and your children will be seized as plunder. That's in Joel 3. The lands that you guys came over here and took the natives or who are aborigines, our people, into slavery, is going to be a double affliction on the land. Now you start to see why the Most High has shut down the borders. The Most High has not allowed the people to leave. That's all part of the double affliction that the Most High talks about in right here. You see that? And you can also see the precepts on the sides as well, so you can go look some of those things up. Okay, this is the apocalypse of Elijah. This was apparently then before the New Testament. So a lot of these things in the Old Testament or New Testament are pulling from the Old Testament, but they only give you parts, and then they give you the mindset of thinking about the so-called Middle East. So therefore, you think about all these things happening over there while they're happening right now here. Remember, you see here, look on the left, in the Americas, there's the vast majority of these afflictions are happening on the land, the double affliction on the land right here. So it's all starting to make much more sense. When you get the land right, you get the area right, then you start to see the prophecies manifesting in those areas. That should let you know all you need to know. They came in and they picked and and chose what parts they wanted to release in a book, and then they also taught you that all that stuff was going to happen right here. If you take a look, so we had a little blast in Beirut, and they've all the news has been talking about it. I ain't worried about that. I'm worried about what's happening right here, all down in here in my lands. I'm looking at prophecy in my lands. And so, and don't worry, the Most High is going to get to everywhere else, but He's starting and bringing more knowledge and understanding to the lands right here in the Americas. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.